Welcome to the Totally Honest Cooking Show. I'm Mark. Today we're doing bone-in chicken thighs, crispy style, with a creamy mushroom sauce. I'm going for kind of a Campbell's soup vibe without the Campbell's soup. So we're going to start by generously salting our chicken thighs and letting them sit like that for about an hour. Let the salt work its magic, work its way in. You know all about that. We're just trying to get them a little bit tender. We're also going to hit them with our pepper grinder a little bit. Okay, and that part's done. Now we're on to the mushrooms. I've got shiitake here and cremini here. These are sometimes called baby bella. I'm going to slice these all up. Anything that's on the mushroom that I don't like the look of, I'm going to get rid of. I'm probably going to take off the first little hard nubbin on the shiitake. And everybody's been rinsed already, so we're good there. If your mushrooms are dirty, rinse them off and slice them up. If you bought them pre-sliced, you're already ready to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. But I'm going to slice my mushrooms first. So I'm just going to do one in front of you. Hope you don't mind. Then I'm going to move on with my life. So just keep them kind of, normal grocery store sliced mushroom sizes. The store I went to didn't sell sliced mushrooms, so I sliced my own. Be careful not to slice your hand off. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do this, obviously. You could slice the stems and the mushrooms separately. I'm not gonna. And I'm gonna need a trash bowl in a second. In fact, let me get a trash bowl. I'm sure I've mentioned this on the show before, but one of the things you can learn from cooking shows, other than recipes, always have a trash bowl. And before you start, always have everything set out. Now, see how the mushrooms just kind of got sliced. By the way, this is a pound of mushrooms. I don't think I said that. You can use whatever kind of mushrooms you want. These are the ones I got. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slice the rest of these. Next up, we're going to dice an onion. For this sort of application, I prefer a yellow onion or a Vidalia onion. But you do you. Anytime a recipe calls for pretty much anything, you can usually substitute whatever you want. It's just going to impact the final result. You got to know what you're doing. Oops. Leave that in. That was perfect timing. Oh my god. You got to know what you're doing, he says, fumblingly. Next up, we're going to start with our herbs. First, with a little bit of rosemary. Now, the good thing about rosemary is that it's really easy to strip off of the stems, right? The bad part about rosemary is that it's not the easiest herb in the world to cut. It's a little bit more hardy, I guess you'd say. Because it's somewhat hardy, I hate cutting it. I suck at it. I don't like it. It annoys me. So I'm going to throw it in this coffee grinder and see if that makes it suck less. If you don't have fresh rosemary or fresh thyme, you can use dried. Just remember it's 1 teaspoon of dried to 1 tablespoon of fresh. Okay, that's better than I would have done. So I'm calling this a personal victory. Again, you can buy a spice grinder. This is just a coffee grinder, though. Okay, next up, we have our thyme. Now, I'm not going to run the thyme through the grinder, and I'm not even going to slice it because I don't need it to be that fine. It's fine enough already, in my opinion. Just like you, Internet. Just like you. So I'm just going to go ahead and strip these down. And I always use a little more than I'm going to need. But it's okay, I'll use it during the week. I'm also going to take a couple minutes and prep these green onions. Okay, now I'm just going to slice them up. Figure 3 at a time. Yeah, that'll be fine. I'm going to stop at 3 green onions. That seemed like a good amount. And it looks like all the basic prep is done. Yay! Okay, we've had a slight whoopsie doodle. So what you're doing with this is you're preheating your oven to 350. And then you're putting the chicken in skin side down, right? Now, I recorded a whole bunch of stuff, or at least I thought I did. I forgot to hit record, and here we are. So, we are cooking the skin a nice golden brown once you get everybody in the pan. Don't force anybody out that doesn't want to come out. Some of these, like this one, the skin was too small, it didn't hold on. But be careful how you take them up, and as they look like they're done, you can start flipping them. This is a little tight, as I explained on the part of the video that you couldn't see because it didn't record. But as it starts looking crispy, give it a little turnover. Now the challenge of having this size of a skillet and this much chicken is that you're going to have a hard time making sure that everybody stays covered. Try to keep their little shirts on. It's not crispy chicken without their little shirt. Oops. See? Case in point. Now usually the skin will come up once it's done, but sometimes it sticks. Just do the best you can. Keep everybody together. If you lose some, no problem. Remember, we're using the sauce is where a lot of the flavor will come from for this dish. But I do like me some chicken skin. It adds a lot of flavor to the meat. Now we're just giving it a couple minutes on the other side to brown the bottoms. Honestly, this is one of the larger whoopsie doodles we've had. Never had it happen where I totally skipped part of the recording. But yeah, you pour the oil on until shimmering. Let it heat up a little bit. Put the chicken face down, right? You should hear a that means it's ready. Cook it till it's about this color on the skin. Hopefully you have just a little bit more space than I had in this pan. It makes it slightly easier to get the chicken out and keep the crispy skin on top. But we'll do what we can to rectify the situation as we go. Okay, looks about done. Now we're going to add the onion. I took out some of the excess oil. I might put it back, we'll see. And this is about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, we'll say 5, that I minced. We're going to let that cook. Jerkins, reset the major whoopsie doodle timer to 0. It has been 0 days since a major whoopsie doodle. I just added a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. See if you can scrape up some of the fond. And I'm going to put in mostly the whites of the green onions. Whites and the harder greens. Okay, onions are starting to brown. We're going to go ahead and put in 1/4 a cup of white wine. And we're going to scrape up any remaining fond. Get those BCBs in there. Burnt crunchy bits. BCBs are the best part, man. Okay. Let that absorb a little bit. That's looking pretty good. The mustard's already giving it a good color. Okay, now I'm going to add the mushrooms. And a big pinch of salt. Help get some of that liquid out. Not a lot of salt, just a big pinch, right? And if we need to add any more of this oil, we will. I have some butter reserved just in case we need it. I don't think we're gonna. They should start giving up their water a little bit soon. I'm gonna go ahead and add the herbs. Tablespoon of our rosemary, kind of a heaping tablespoon of our thyme. Smells good already. I implore you to see if you can do a better job than I did of keeping the chicken together, because the treat of this dish is getting the chicken above the braising liquids so that you can have a nice crispy chicken dinner. Yep, they're starting to sweat a little bit. Okay, and that's what we want. Once they start looking kind of sweaty, we're going to go ahead and add our stock. This is 1 cup of chicken stock, which we're going to bring to a simmer. Once everybody's simmering, we can go ahead and start putting our chicken back in. Okay, everybody's in. Pour the liquids back in. Now we're going to stick this in the oven for 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, and we're done. Now remember, the handle and the pan are very hot. Do not hurt yourself doing this. Totally Honest Cooking Show is not responsible for any harm you find yourself doing to yourself. Also, hopefully you can't hear the ice cream truck in the background, because I think that's copyrighted work. I don't know. I assume. We're going to go ahead and start adding our cream. I'm going to start with about half a cup. I'm going to twiddle it around. And then I'm going to add the other half a cup because it seems like it's working. Okay. If I need to add more, I will. So now I'm heating this up, letting everybody get to know each other a little bit. To my broth, that is quickly going to become cream of mushroom soup, I am adding 1 teaspoon of fish sauce. This will add an umami sort of thing. I stole that idea from Kenji. I want it thicker than this, so I'm taking a tablespoon of potato starch, adding it to this little ramekin thing. And I'm making a slurry. Potato starch, much like cornstarch, can be used as a thickening agent. And in fact, according to my Google search 2 seconds ago when I couldn't find my cornstarch, potato starch does it faster. So, give it a little mix around. We're going to bring it back up to a simmer. That cream was kind of cold. And see if that starch gets to work. Okay, there we go. Now it's starting to really sauce up. And we're ready to plate. I've got some rice and some green beans. I'm thinking this will make kind of a bootleg sort of green bean casserole feel to it. And we're just going to get a lot of this sauce. When I was doing research, it seemed like a lot of the recipes made less sauce than this. And I wanted a lot of sauce. One thing this show has taught me, you want a lot of sauce. Whatever it says, make a sauce, double the sauce. Okay, doesn't that look good? Let's tart it up a little bit. We got some Parmesan cheese here, freshly grated. And we'll take some of this thyme. Just give it a couple little drops. There we go. Okay. Like, subscribe, click the little bell. Recipes in the description. Feel free to leave a comment. Say hi. See ya.